Hi there, your computer friend Connie here. I am going to take the confusion out of the OneNote versions for you. There are a few different ways that OneNote could look. So the good news is no matter where you put your notes, you'll have access to them. The environment for OneNote could look a little bit different depending on the device that you're using or on the version that you're visiting. But we'll get through that together, and so hopefully you can navigate around much more easily. So I'm going to show you desktop OneNote versions, and I'm going to show you a web-based version. We're even going to talk a little bit about a tablet like an iPad, and even the smartphones like an iPhone, and of course you could have the Android as well. And let's look at what those products look like for that OneNote screen that you're going to be visiting. So I'm going to be visiting the same notebook page on all these different devices so I can show you the differences. So to start with, my first example is I'm on my desktop computer. It's a PC computer, and I am looking at OneNote for Windows 10. So that's a particular version of OneNote that comes with Windows 10. If you don't have Windows 10, you have Windows 11 now, you can still actually get this version. If you have an older version of Windows, you may not be able to get this version. So we're going to start here, and you're going to look at what the screen looks like, and then we're going to compare it to the OneNote that you get with Microsoft 365. Okay, so OneNote for Windows 10. So right now I'm looking at a page in my notebook, and the biggest thing that I'm going to point out to you in terms of navigating right from the get-go is that looking at how do I see my notebooks, my sections, and my pages. And so this may be visible on your screen because your screen may not look like mine. So that's what we have to figure out, is how do you get your screen to look like mine. So on the very left side here, we have this little bookshelf, and that's what opens things up for us. That little bookshelf opens up the book to show us what are the pages that this notebook has. So pages being this stuff on the left here, or this column here. And then what are the sections that I have from my notebook? How is my notebook divided up? And then at the very top of this, I have the actual notebook name itself. And so in this case, I'm in the classroom notebook, I'm in the introduction section, and I'm on the agenda level 1 page. And you see I have many more places I can go, but that's basically the beginning navigation. So we're going to compare this now to what OneNote as part of Microsoft 365 looks like. So I'm in this version of OneNote, which comes with Microsoft 365. It also came with Microsoft 2016, and maybe even older versions might look very similar to this. So this OneNote has the sections showing at the top as tabs over here. So I have my introduction section that I'm in showing at the top, and then the page I'm on is that agenda, and the notebook I'm in is classroom. So if I wanted to, if I want to see the other pages that are available to me, those are showing on the right side here. Now my screen can look different. There's lots of things I can do to make this screen look different, just like in the other OneNote, I can make my screen look different there as well. But let's just start with keeping it the same and showing you the same page on different devices so you can at least see it from that standpoint. So sections at the top, biggest difference, right? Notebook name, kind of similar area, but it's nonetheless, it looks a little bit different. Okay. Next example, OneNote on the web. So you can access OneNote from the Microsoft 365 web app. You can just log on to your Microsoft account through the web, or you can even get into a free Microsoft account for OneNote and access OneNote this way as well. But this does look different again. So here it's looking a bit similar to the first one that I was on, with the page open and the bookshelf on the left. So I'm going to click on this little bookshelf, and then I see the actual pages available to me and the actual sections available to me. And the name of my notebook again showing at the top here. Okay, so this is OneNote on the web. So as we go through this demonstration, I'm not going to show you every single difference, but there are definitely some differences in terms of what items are on the toolbars, what, you know, in your menus within these different versions of OneNote. So just be aware of that. I'll show you a couple of major differences, but I don't have time to show you every single one. So just know that for the most part, you have it is going to be very similar, but yeah, some things may be missing. All right, so this is a view of OneNote on the iPad or a tablet of some kind. And so because I have less screen space, the iPad is showing vertically in this example. I'm seeing my page, so the agenda, very nicely on my screen. And I'm seeing the other pages available to me on the left side. But I'm not seeing the sections. The section I'm in is the introduction section, so I do see that on the left. And the notebook I'm in, which is the classroom notebook, is showing at the very top. Okay, so if I wanted to go to a different section, I would have to hit this little arrow to see what my other sections are. And if I wanted to go to another notebook, then I'd have to hit the arrow to go to my other notebooks. So let me just show you what that screen would look like. So if I go to look at my other sections, I can see my sections over here in a separate column, and then I can also see all of my notebooks available as well. And my page that I was working on is now just a portion of my screen. So it's just trying to give me emphasis on, you know, what section or what notebook do I want to work in. And then once I pick that, it'll give me room for my page and for my working on the note itself. Okay, let's go on to the last example here, and that is going to be the iPhone. So the iPhone definitely, or an Android, definitely a lot less room to show us information. So all it's showing, in this case, because I went to this page, it's showing me this page. If I don't want to be on this page, I can't see my other pages unless I hit this arrow at the top left. Then I'll see all my pages. And once I see all my pages, I could hit the arrow to see all my sections. And once I see my sections, I could hit the arrow to see all my notebooks. So I'm kind of like moving out through OneNote, one screen at a time with the little arrows. So actually on your phone, when you first go into OneNote, you will be presented with your notebooks that you can choose from, provided that you've opened them up. So you'd actually have to open up the notebook that you want to access by choosing the notebooks at the bottom here. And or you could create a brand new notebook from your phone actually. And so let's say the classroom one, as you can see, is already created, and it's also listed in my list of notebooks. So all I'd have to do is click on classroom, and then it would take me to the sections in that notebook that I have to choose from, and then from the sections it would take me to the pages, and that would lead me back to where I showed you previously. So that leads you to this page. Now if I close OneNote on my phone, as I don't want to use it anymore right now, then when I open it again, it'll take me to wherever I left off. So I will go back to this page or whatever screen that I happen to be in. And similarly with the iPad or tablet, it'll do the same thing there. All right, I'm going to go back to my original OneNote for Windows 10, and I'm going to show you from this version how I can access other notebooks. And that is going to be by going to the top here where it says Classroom. That's the notebook I'm currently in. Clicking on that drop down, and then these are all the notebooks I currently have open on this computer. And so how I did that is obviously I made those notebooks first, and that add notebook is an option that you would use when you make your first notebook. And then once that notebook is created, I can access that notebook on any computer that I own or any device that I use OneNote on. And so if I made this notebook, let's say on my laptop, and right now I'm on my desktop computer, then I would want to go to more notebooks to open an existing notebook if it's not showing here. Okay, so seeing the list of notebooks, the first thing we have to keep in mind is that we either have added them onto this device from scratch, or we maybe opened them on this computer or this device because they were created somewhere else previously. And so to open a notebook, you're going to use the More Notebooks option to open it. Okay, let's take a look at what this looks like in the other version of OneNote. Here I'm in the other version of OneNote that is part of Microsoft 365 or of older versions of Microsoft Office. And so the classroom notebook is actually listed at the top here beside with this little arrow. If I click on that, that will show me what notebooks I have available. And so you see this list is much shorter than the other list you saw, because when on this machine, in this application, I only have opened these 3 notebooks. So I don't have any other notebooks open. So if I wanted to see a notebook that exists, I can just go to open other notebooks, and it will let me see my other notebooks I can then open. Okay, so I just picked a different one. Class notebook. Okay, I'm going to go back to Classroom, and now you'll see that I have Class Notebook, which is which one I just opened. Now it's available in my list, and then Classroom is the one that I was previously on. Now, if you want to keep seeing your notebooks in this version on the left-hand side, that's what this little thumbtack is for. You can just click on that, and that will clip your notebooks and actually show you the sections right beside it. Or wherever you see these little arrows, see the screen can change so much just by what you click on. And that's why, you know, you might be thinking to yourself, my screen doesn't look the same as hers. It's kind of all based on what did you click on last, or who was on that machine, or what did I click on last. Like, I'm using this machine and this OneNote all the time. So, you know, I'm trying to go back to the basics as to what it looked like in the beginning, but, you know, maybe I clicked on something that you haven't clicked on yet. So there's lots of things that can change the look of it. So here on the left side here, I have pinned my notebooks by using that thumbtack, and I've closed up or expanded my notebooks. So expand it with the arrows and close it up or collapse it with the arrows as well. So you've got that choice. So that's kind of neat to see the sections like that. And the sections here, so I'll just maybe concentrate just on Classroom. So I'm in the introduction section by showing it, so it's showing on the top, but it's also showing on the left side. So it's actually showing in 2 places in this version of OneNote. Okay, let's go on to another way of looking at OneNote. So back to the web version of OneNote, I can change the notebook I'm looking at by similar to the way I did in that first example. I'm going to click on Classroom in the drop down there. And these are the notebooks that it has found on this web version of OneNote. So it's found more of them because it's looking at where I'm saving my notebooks. So if I wanted to open up a different notebook, I could just click on that notebook, and then it has that notebook open with the sections available and the pages available on the left side there. Okay, and on the web browser, it's kind of interesting because it opened that notebook, but it left my Classroom notebook open as well on a different tab. So I have 2 different notebooks open at the same time on the web version. That's neat. You can't do that on the desktop version or the iPad version or the smartphone version. Okay, so remember, if I click that little bookshelf there, I can reduce or collapse that left side so I only see my page. And if I want to see what else is available to me beyond this page, hit that little bookshelf, and that opens up those sections and those pages again for me. Okay, we're going to move on to a few of the distinct differences between these different versions of OneNote. So please keep in mind, depending on what device you're using, there's going to be some things you can do on one device versus another. So on your computer, you always have the most ability to, or the most access to the most features. If you're using your iPad or a tablet, if you're using a smartphone, you're not going to have as big a menus or as many choices in terms of what you can do. That's just the way it is based on that device. Now, if you're using the desktop version of the program, so OneNote versus OneNote for Windows 10, you're going to have more options as compared to using the web-based version of a program. So we have to consider all these things, and that's why it's important for you to know which version are you on. Do you want to have access to that particular feature? And so, by the way, no matter what version you're on or what device you're on, when you're looking at your notebook, when you're adding to your notebook or changing it, updating it, you can access that same notebook on any version of OneNote. So one of my favorite features in OneNote for Windows 10 is the recent notes icon, and that's what looks like a little clock on the left side here. If I click on that, that shows me what I've recently changed or updated. So if I was just working on a page earlier today, I can quickly get back to that page. And so recent really means just recently, what have I changed? A lot of these recent edits or recent notes that I accessed or changed or added to are in different notebooks. The marketing notebook, the Mission Possible notebook, the Moving People Forward notebook. So it's telling me which notebook. If I click on one of them, which one do I want to check on here? Let's say the marketing and the literature one. So that one, that notebook, if I click on that recent note, it actually is showing me this note. Okay. Even though I didn't change notebooks. So it's just a quick, kind of a shortcut there. Okay, I'm going to go back. Now, the other way to move around, if you want to go back to something that you were looking at, is you do have a back button, and that back button is that little arrow here. So I could back, so I'm back to that list of speaking topics, and then back again to my agenda, and I can just keep hitting that back button if I want to. Okay, so that's the option that we have within OneNote for Windows 10. Let's look at how this looks like in the other desktop version of OneNote. So there is no recent notes button on the left side in the other version of OneNote, but instead you do have a history option and in your menus that you don't have in OneNote for Windows 10, by the way. So this is a completely new toolbar or a completely different one that they've taken away. And so the history toolbar lets you go to recent edits. So once I choose recent edits, I have to choose from what time frame. So it's not just about today. I could look at it based on any time frame I want. So it's giving me some really cool choices, right? So I can say, well, let's say since yesterday. Now look way over on the right here, the search results since yesterday. So keep in mind, this is not showing me everything because at the very top, it is doing really a search and it's looking at, you know, is this just what's in this current notebook? Or is this going to be, whereas my other recent notes one didn't ask me that. It just gave me recent notes. It was giving me notes from all kinds of notebooks and all kinds of sections within those notebooks. This one's assuming just in my current notebook, which is my classroom notebook. So if I change from search this notebook and I pick from the drop down all notebooks, now keep in mind on this particular version of OneNote, on the left side, you can see my notebooks I have open. I only have 4, whereas in the other version of OneNote, I had way more than 4. So it's only going to look at whatever notebooks I have open right now. So search all notebooks. Yeah, unfortunately, it didn't change anything. It's just, it has the same list of stuff because I haven't done any other work in any of these other notebooks. So maybe we should open up another notebook in here so you can see it populate some more search results. So let me just take a peek at that other version of OneNote again. And so I have a few things from Moving People Forward. Maybe I'll use that notebook. So I'm going to go up here to my notebooks area. So here's actually another difference between the versions. When I want to go to open up another notebook, based on the way I've pinned my notebooks here, there is no option for me to open. If I unpin and I go to that drop down for classroom, then it says open other notebooks. So that's one way to get to them. The other way though is that there is a menu here for file. So just like you're probably familiar with file with your other programs, I can open another notebook by going to the file menu. The file menu is not in OneNote for Windows 10. So I'm going to say open. So more than one way of doing things. And I want to go, so now in here, I want to scroll through and Moving People Forward is right there. And although I opened that notebook, I'm just going to show that it's open on my screen here. I'm not showing you the contents of it right now, but just so you know, it is available in my list. So now let's do that search. So if we go recent edits and then we say today, I think it was today or since yesterday, and rather than saying just this notebook, we're going to say all notebooks. We have quite a few from today that are actually coming from that other notebook. So that's why you see a bunch more in this list. So it is doing similar things. It's just a different way of doing it in this version versus the other version. Okay, I've moved to the web version of OneNote now. And as far as recent edits or recent notebooks that I just opened, I can't see any kind of option for me to choose that. So there is no little clock on the left side here for recent. There is no history toolbar at the top. I do have the back button, just like you could go back on a website page. I do have that ability. Yeah, that's my only option, is that back button. All right, I'm happy to report that on the iPad or on your iPhone or tablet or Android, you do have an option for recent notes. The picture here is from an iPad, so recent notes is along with all the notebook names. So if you go to that page or that first screen where it says notebooks, then recent notes is going to be listed there, and that's kind of how it shows on the iPhone as well. So that's good news. It's showing the same as your OneNote for Windows 10, and again, OneNote, just the other OneNote doesn't quite show it as recent notes, but it shows it under the history toolbar. So really, the OneNote on the web browser or OneNote on the web does not give you this feature. Okay, we'll look at one more difference between all the versions for a feature that you should be using within OneNote, and that's the tags feature. So if you're in OneNote for Windows 10, the tags feature is this little icon that has a little check mark box showing on the toolbar for the home ribbon. So if I click on the drop down for that check mark box, I see a bunch of other choices. Then I could choose any one of these, and I can also create a new one. So tags is something I'm not going to teach you right now, but I'm just going to show you what's available in this tag list in this version. So I have quite a bit of stuff here, and I can create new stuff and get rid of stuff that I created as well. So let's go take a look at the other version of OneNote and see what the difference is there. Okay, so in this version of OneNote, the tags show up quite differently. I have a whole section for that information. In fact, the to-do tag, that little checkbox, has its own button. And then if I want to see a whole bunch more tags, I have to use these little arrows to arrow through, or this little arrow with a line to see the entire list. So this version of OneNote that comes with Microsoft 365 or other Microsoft Office versions gives you more tags that are already created for you. Some of these, by the way, yeah, no, I think these are just all the standard ones. And then you could create your own tag as well, and that's customized tags at the bottom. So, but this version of OneNote is giving you a bit more stuff to do with tags. It has find tags in the toolbar alongside of where the to-do tag and the other tags are. So let me just talk about that for a second. Find tags is showing as a button here. But if I go back to the OneNote for Windows 10, there's no find tags here, but I actually would just use this guy, which is my magnifying glass, the search button. And when I'm doing the search button, if I type in to do, it actually lets me see that there's a tag called to do. So as long as I type in the name of the tag, it'll find that tag for me. In fact, when I'm doing a search of any words, it will say, here are the pages with those words on them. Here are the tags with those words on them. Okay, so searching tags is not a problem in either version of OneNote. Let's go to the web-based version now. So web-based version, tags is still on that in the home ribbon. There's a little drop down, and it is a pretty long list, so looking similar to just the OneNote version that comes with Office 365. I don't see a search in here if I scroll down, and I don't see a customize option in here. So I can't customize. Let's just see if I can search another way. So I'm going to go over to the magnifying glass, which is what I had in OneNote for Windows 10. And it does let me type something in. So let's type in to do, and it's not searching my tags. It's just searching for the words to do. I've got the ability to search it within a page or within a section, but it's not finding those tags. Okay, so it looks like you are limited to being able to search for a tag within this version, within the web-based version. So on the iPad or iPhone, you can certainly add tags to your notes, but it doesn't let you search for tags in particular. You can search on the iPad or the iPhone for words within any of your notebooks or sections and pages, but it's not letting you search for a tag. So that's one of your limitations there. All right, so I'm going to wrap it up here for talking about the differences between your OneNote versions. Hopefully this helps you see which version might be a benefit for you to have loaded or accessible to you on your computer. And if you're not sure how to get that notebook set up for you, contact your IT person or IT department to do that for you. OneNote on the web is available to every single person, so there should be no problem in getting that, although just remember that there are a few features that we can't do with the OneNote on the web. So having it on your desktop is definitely preferable, and it's just a matter of verifying which version do you have available to you on your desktop, and can you get the other one if you prefer the other one. All right, so have fun with it. Thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye.